The Walt Disney Company was lacking a CEO, a CFO, and a CDO. They found themselves a CDO, and now they've bought a CFO. Who did they buy it from? The Pepsi Company. In fact, they paid quite a bit for him, and his contract hides a little something that means they might be paying a lot if things don't work out. It's an amazing amount, and we might even call it a platinum parachute. Let's talk about that here on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, and I am here not with my usual co-pilot, or at least not for this ship. I'm here with WDW Pro. Pro, how you doing today?
Happy to be here. I love the fact that Disney did not have a CEO. Well, they did have a CEO, although that's been in flux, eh? But they didn't have a CDO. They didn't have a CFO. You know what? I'm thinking they got on the CBO and called over to Pepsi and said, "Help! Help! Nobody is helping us."
That's almost like a trucker reference there. We haven't had one of those for a while, but it does relate when you're talking about soft drink companies.
Hey, Disney's got a long way to go and a short time to get there, Jonas. Keep on trucking.
And if only they were delivering Pepsi in that movie. That seems like the kind of thing that a studio might say. Instead of delivering adult beverages, could you please deliver some nice, delicious Pepsi? All right. Well,
bring us the bubbly, the carbonated bubbly.
Let's talk about this guy. His name is Hugh Johnston. He was, he might still be for the next month or so, the CFO of PepsiCo, which also owns Frito-Lay, Quaker Oats, a number of items in their, what would they call it, their food portfolio.
PepsiCo is bigger than Disney, right?
Oh, yes.
Not by a little bigger.
Right. If Pepsi right now is a $150 billion company, PepsiCo, sorry, did I say that right? Disney. If Disney is 150 billion, then Pepsi is more like 250 billion. They're a much larger company, and they have a much more intricate operation rather than running some theme parks, an adorable little streaming service, and trying to make some movies every now and then.
For you accountants out there, we're talking about a company with $250 billion valuation.
Yep, absolutely. So Hugh Johnston has been there at Pepsi since 1987. I almost said 1937. He's been there for about 37 years. Coming up here at the end.
He did not make the recipe though.
I don't think he did. That was made about 125 years ago. So this guy does have a history of dealing with century-old brands, which maybe that makes him a good fit here for the Walt Disney Company. Now, we're all excited about this guy coming over. He's shown that he has a history with mergers and acquisitions. In fact, that's kind of where he started. In looking over his LinkedIn while I was doing research for this and also for That Park Place's live stream, noticed he started in mergers and acquisition, in strategy, and in finance in general, which that's a pretty good way to start if you're intending to be the CFO or maybe even running a multi-billion-dollar company. No comment there on whether or not he might end up being the CEO of the Walt Disney Company, but who knows? This is a guy who has come into the Disney Company, and he's come with a lot of strings attached. He looks like he's the right man for the job. He's a grown up. Might
even have a pull string attached, Jonas.
I'm trying to think of a Pepsi owned character and what they would say if you do that. But the best I can come up with, it can't beat the real thing, which is, of course, the Coca-Cola slogan. Come on, Pepsi. Oh, that's it. They're the choice of the next generation. That's right. So let's get to the article that we have here, because I want to get Pro's commentary on this. The new Disney CFO has tremendous golden parachute guarantees by Amelia Iglesias over there at That Park Place. Thank you very much, Amelia, for allowing us to use your article. Hugh Johnston has been hired as the new CFO of the Walt Disney Company. Language inside his contract reveals that he can largely exit when and how he wishes, with strongly guaranteed financial outcomes. This was the fascinating thing to me about his contract, and we talked about this a little bit with our internal channels. Now, golden parachutes are common, but this one I think is especially interesting. There is an agreement between the Walt Disney Company and Hugh Johnston, which contains provisions for termination for good reason. This is not the Walt Disney Company saying, we are going to fire you if you don't perform. This is Hugh Johnston saying, I can quit if you don't perform, which encompasses circumstances under which Mr. Johnson may resign from his position if specific events occur. The relevant contractual language cited verbatim is as follows. I'll translate it a little bit.
Well, let me just say, Jonas, as you get ready to do that, This is not a golden parachute, in my opinion. This is the Rolls Royce of parachutes. I mean, this sucker is made so that this man, who is coming down from a bigger company, and that's why we brought this up in the beginning, he is coming from Pepsi, which is far larger than the Walt Disney Company. He's stepping down, essentially, down into a lower league to take on this role, and they are enticing him over using this system where he can walk away basically for any reason he so deems. Surely any reason he could come up with could fit into one of these categories, and he walks away with tremendous treasures.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here are any of the things that might happen that will allow him to trigger at his will within 30 days. He can leave the company, and it sounds like getting full pay. 1, a reduction in executives' compensation rights. Here under, that is a reduction in base salary, target bonus opportunity specified in paragraph 3B. By the way, that is looks like $14 million in bonuses, $2 million in base pay, with some target bonuses in there as well at around $4 million. Did I say billions in there? I meant to say millions. So we're looking at a compensation package that is commensurate with the excess that we have seen at the Walt Disney Company over the last few years.
Probably we also need to say that this is the way that we have access to this, of course, is through an SEC filing. And so when it's making these references to other parts of that contract, we're not showing you the full contract, although we could, but we're just showing you the pertinent place where you can find this Rolls-Royce parachute.
Yes, and we've linked it in the article if you want to check that out, and we'll have the article as well in the description, which links to the SEC filing. SEC filings are so nice for all these disclosure agreements that have to be made, and these things that rise up to the top. That's how we found out that Nelson Peltz was courting Ike Perlmutter, and Ike Perlmutter and Nelson Peltz then worked together to try to get seats on the board. It's a fascinating thing. I know that I personally love going through these kind of documents.
Well, this is how investigative journalism works, and I know that's not something that the media is into these days, but we're trying to bring it back. We're going retro, right? We're like new Pepsi or blue Pepsi. I don't know, but Jonas. Here's my curiosity, and let's step out of the hard news for a moment, and let's go into the speculative, if that's okay. This is your channel, your show.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm wondering why. Why does this man and why does this company, why are they interested in a Rolls-Royce platinum mahogany parachute, whatever you want to call this? I mean, this really is tremendous. Why would they put this in here? What is part of the game that we don't understand yet?
Well, in order to say that, let me highlight point 2 here in order to elucidate the removal of the executive by the company from the position of senior executive vice president and chief financial officer of the company. So this means that if he is removed from the position but not fired or anything like that, he still can quit and get paid this full amount. Or if there is a material reduction in the executive duties and responsibilities within the date of this agreement, and if the assignment to the executive of duties are materially inconsistent with the executive's position or duties that materially impair the executive's ability to function. So if his title changes, or if his position changes in responsibilities, or if he views it as any change of function within what he's doing. So as long as he is there, they cannot remove him from the ability to be the CFO in name, and they cannot remove the ability to be the CFO in function.
Don't ask this man to take out the trash. Don't do it. You ask him to bundle up that trash baggie in his office, you are going to be paying a pretty penny for it. Jonas, the thing that amazes me here, I want to bring this down into
there's one more I want to bring up. There's one more I want to bring up.
And I want to,
relocation of the executive's principal office to anywhere other than 50 miles outside of the greater Los Angeles area. So now go ahead, Pro.
So you will often see people take on a job that is difficult to fill. And when they do, there will be a signing bonus or a sign-on bonus. And that, of course, is incentive to get the person to come to the job and immediately receive a reward. That's pretty common. What is uncommon is a sign-off bonus. And that, I think, is what we're looking at inside this contract. It's rather unusual to the point that it's worth noting, and that's why we're doing the video. This man has a sign-off bonus. When he leaves, he gets rewarded for leaving.
If he quits, he gets rewarded for leaving.
Yes.
That is amazing. That's not severance. That is just.
And he got a sign-on bonus. He got a sign-on bonus. He gets a sign-off bonus, and he gets all kinds of stuff in between. It's amazing.
Yeah, and his sign-on bonus is three million, where his annual
Chump
salary
change.
is 2 million.
Chump change. They pulled the dimes and nickels out of Mickey's pockets for that one, probably.
Yep, and then his bonuses are, of course, even close to triple that, which is astounding, amazing. I wish I had the kind of job where if I quit it or got fired, I was receiving $14 million to do it. Hey, Pro, by the way, we need to talk about that later. So this is astounding to me, and we tried to figure out why it is that this kind of language is here. One, it pretty much assures that if he comes over, he's not messing around. He's got the job. There's no one else doing the job. Two, if this is in tandem with, say, someone like Nelson Peltz, we still haven't figured out whether or not this is a Peltz guy or an anti-Peltz guy. And we've got analysis that's on this channel. So subscribe if you haven't seen it, or you can go through the live stream. We'll be clipping out some of that section where we contemplate whether or not Hugh Johnston is a Peltz guy. And I'm imagining more information will come out there. Now, the third option is that he might be contemplating that the Walt Disney Company could be sold, or that large portions of the company could be sold to someone else, and that he would be asked to stay on as the CFO of whatever that organization is, or go with the other one. So let's say Amazon comes in and says, we want to buy the Walt Disney Company. There's a bunch of regulatory issues that come with that. The same with Apple, the same with Microsoft, which, by the way, Hugh Johnston is on the board of Microsoft. Just throwing that out there. If they decide they want to buy the company and move the headquarters to Redmond, this triggers something where he gets paid the rest of this contract, $14 million at least, I think, if we're reading the bonus language correctly. And then they have to renegotiate if they want to keep this grade A, AAA CFO that they've got here.
And this really is. I mean, they've plucked this guy out of the heavens in comparison to what they, what we might have thought they could pull. This is truly fascinating, though, Jonas, because if you think about it, there's so much discussion about Disney potentially selling off ABC, ESPN. No, I don't think they're going to do that with ESPN, but they could. These big chunks of the company. If he were to go with said chunk, then he would be compensated dramatically, even separate the new contract he would pick up as a part of another company coming in and grabbing his contract and his position. So the man has set himself up very well, and I'm just, perhaps Disney is that desperate. They needed a fantastic CFO, and this was the way to get him. Perhaps there's something more at play here where they know that something's on the horizon and they wanted to create benefit within his contract for that thing that we do not yet know. But it is very fascinating, a sign-off bonus.
You know what's funny is it occurs to me now that if he did get promoted to CEO, that would probably also trigger this clause. Now, that being said, it would be a funny thing to think that he would call it termination for good reason, getting promoted. I wonder if he'd play that way. But
if it says if he changes duties, it kicks in.
So now we don't necessarily go into employment contracts all the time here on That Park Place, but when they do occur, it's always fascinating to look for those little idiosyncrasies. Pro, what do you think is the net result here? I want to give you the final thoughts on whether or not this guy is trending towards being the CEO, whether or not this guy is saying, no, I'm staying at Disney forever. I was a Pepsi lifer. Now I'm a Disney lifer. What do you think is going on here? And also tell people where they can find you.
There's a reason that we don't know yet. And the reason is because this goes one of two ways, depending on how this man's relationship with Nelson Peltz and the Tryon Group will go over. They have a history. They have relationships. You've brought that forth, Jonas. I'm sure we'll continue to have videos on this channel covering that information. If he is a Peltz guy, and if Peltz comes in and gains power and gains seats on the board, you could see this man being the kind of fellow who might be the CEO next, and his contract is structured in such a way he'd be happy to do so. If he's not a Peltz guy and Peltz takes power, then, well, he's much less likely to be CEO. And then you can invert all of those prior to hypotheses. You can invert them and get the opposite results and figure that out on your own as well. Now, what is amazing to me, of course, is that Disney has picked up a CFO who, by every single rubric, measurement, and postulation that we have, this guy's fantastic. This guy's incredible. So you have to give them kudos for getting him. The question now with this sign-off bonus is, how long do they keep him? And that has yet to be seen because of, again, we don't know, will Nelson Peltz get power? Will he not get power? And in both of those scenarios, is this guy pro-Peltz or anti-Peltz? We'll cover it, of course, on the WDW Pro channel as well, although I am overjoyed that Park Place is doing exceedingly well with you, Jonas, and with Vash, of course, and all of the other wonderful and magnanimous guests you have.
Well,
I'm also very happy that thatparkplace.com is exploding. And
yes,
that's even before we get to the big announcement coming later this month. So, Jonas, what do we have coming up?
Well, I just want to say, like, literally just within a few hours of recording this video, we did hit 5,000 subscribers, which is amazing. And I'm personally humbled. We have put a lot of work into it, but we couldn't have done it without the people who watch these videos and subscribe to this channel. So I'll just say that if you do want to subscribe, we would appreciate it. We've got a lot coming up, and it appears that our audience really does like the business analysis here. I was assuming we wanted a little bit more theme parky stuff. I think we're still going to do the theme parky stuff, but we've got a lot coming up. We're going to talk about some legal snafus that might have happened at the Walt Disney Company with putting a character they didn't own in the parks. We got lots to cover. Unless, Pro, there was something specific you were aiming at here that I'm neglecting.
Only, Jonas, that in the middle of this month, we are going to have an earth-shattering announcement. And we don't mean that in a symbolic way. Well, yes, we do. The earth won't actually tremble under our feet, but it might. It might, as all of you click onto the news as it happens in the middle of November. Perhaps that will be enough to measure on the Richter scale. But we're going to have an announcement that I think will easily make thatparkplace.com the premier website on all of the web for pop culture. We're not overstating that. Folks, you'll find out what the announcement is. It's going to be big, and I'm excited for that to happen.
Oh, and you're going to love that. I do believe the live stream is scheduled for the 20th, not our usual day. It's going to be on Monday before Thanksgiving. So you guys are going to want to be there for that, because it's going to be big. It's going to be exciting for us, but we're hoping the audience is just as excited as we are for what is going down. Of course, I want to thank you all for watching this video. If you like this video, consider, liking this video. Share it out on social media if you think there's somebody who is interested in this kind of topic. It's an amazing thing to be invited onto different channels to talk about some CFO from the Pepsi company coming over to the Walt Disney Company. But apparently there are crazy people like me out there who love this kind of stuff. And of course, subscribe to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.